Welcome back to another video from PowerDirector Made Simple. In today's video, we're going to explore some of the finer details and strange things about transitions in PowerDirector. A few days ago, I was working with a friend on his Davinci Resolve system as he was attempting to configure a simple page curl transition in Davinci Resolve, something that proved somewhat difficult and with some very unusual results. Now that caused me to go back and revisit the Transitions menu in PowerDirector 365. I'll start by using the sample media included with PowerDirector. I'll drag down to track 1 the mountain biker video, and then the skateboard 01 video, and then the skateboard 02 video, followed by the Sport 02 image onto track 2 all by itself. And I don't need to listen to the annoying music, so I'm going to disable the audio track. When I open up the Transitions menu and click on My Favorites, I'll start with the same effect that we were using in Davinci, the page curl, which I have marked as a favorite. If I just hover my mouse over the page curl or any other transition in PowerDirector, you get to see something that you don't see in Davinci, the actual transition as it works without scrubbing the mouse over the effect as you would have to do so in Davinci. Okay, PowerDirector has a nice thing going there. Now if I click on it once just to select it, you can see its effect in the larger preview window. I don't think you get to see anything like these preview samples in Davinci without actually attaching it to something in their timeline. However, now that I just clicked on it to preview it, how do I make it stop? The stop button in the preview window is grayed out. I haven't figured it out, but I think this is a bug in Cyberlink which will never fix it. Fortunately, it's not really a big deal as I can just click on any other transition. But wait, now I can't stop that one either. The only way out is to choose a different menu item on the left or top, or actually drag the effect down to the timeline. In this case, I'll drag the page curl down to the timeline and place it directly between the first two clips that I have on track 1. I'll also place it between the second and third clips. I'll move the playhead to just before the first effect, and without any clip being selected, I'll hit play. Now that works great, but I'll now right-click on the effect and select Modify Transition. In the window that opens, notice on the top that by default, the cross behavior is selected. I'll change that to Overlap. If you were observant of my timeline, you could see that my overall duration in the timeline just got shorter simply because of the overlap behavior, which means at a certain point in time, a portion of the first clip will be visible as well as a portion of the second clip. And if you look really close at the timeline, the crossover behavior also got applied to the audio channel, even though that's meaningless here because I have the audio disabled. The duration time of the effect has not changed and still remains at the default 2 seconds. Once again, I'll play that effect now with the overlap behavior enabled. Did you notice any difference? Neither did I. But if the audio were enabled, there would be some slight changes made there. Many transitions won't show any difference whether you use a crossover or an overlap, but there are some that do. You just have to experiment around and get to know which ones that do. If I open up Preferences, then Editing, you can set the default behavior for all transitions to either cross or overlap. But don't forget that regardless of this default setting, you can always modify it once it is placed on the timeline. And while I'm looking at my settings here, also notice down at the bottom the default duration for a transition is set to 2 seconds. I'll click OK and close Preferences to return to the timeline. There are 3 ways of placing a transition effect. You've just seen the one method where it overlaps equally between 2 clips, which is the method used the majority of the time. Next, I'm going to delete that first transition on the timeline. Then I'm going to reselect it again from the library and drag it down to the timeline again, but I won't release it just yet. Notice that I can place it all the way over at the beginning of a clip, which is the second method. And the third method is that I can place it at the end of a clip without overlapping onto an adjacent clip. I'll drop it once again so that it overlaps both clips just like before. I'll now select the fade transition, and just because I can, I'm going to place it at the end of the image clip. Did you know that you won't find a transition called fade or fade to black in Davinci? I'm assuming that they expect the user to realize that their effect called dip to color dissolve is practically the same thing. As an alternative, Davinci further suggests for the user to set keyframes to change the opacity for fade in and fade outs. Wow, talk about a long way to get there. I'm happy with PowerDirector's one-click fade transition, of which I can change the duration time or opacity levels directly on the timeline if I wanted to. By the way, did anyone notice that the transitions shown in My Favorites are shown in alphabetic order, but not in any of the other transition categories? There is a reason for that. It's spelled cyberlink. Now with the playhead at 0, I'm going to hit play and let's watch the result. Well, it works. The still image fades away to show the video that is already playing. I didn't say it would look great, but it does work. Now, depending upon the content of the media clips on both track 1 and 2, that could have been a worthwhile transition. I'm going to move that entire clip in effect from track 2 to the end of track 1. When I do so, the effect does not move with it from track to track. So, I'll place the fade back at the end of the image, and then add another page curl effect between it and the last video. Now I'll go back and select that first transition on the timeline just by clicking once on it. The next question is if I can make the transition unbalanced between the two clips. For example, instead of the current 1 second on each clip, how about 2 seconds on the first clip and 1 second on the second clip for a total of 3 seconds? All I need to do is select the effect and then move the mouse cursor to the left side of the effect until I get that strange looking bracket cursor. And then left click and drag that one side to the left until my duration time reads somewhere around 3 seconds. I'll move the playhead to just before the effect and hit play. It's somewhat difficult to tell the difference using this particular effect, but with many others, you will see a pronounced difference if there is an unbalanced duration time. I want to get to the Modify Transition window again, but instead of right-clicking on it, a faster way is to just double-click it. When the window opens, I'll click to select the Overlap behavior. As you look at the mini preview window of the effect on the left side, notice that it opens from the left to the right. Now this is interesting because in Davinci, the default is just the opposite direction. But now I'm going to do something that is somewhat difficult to discover how to accomplish in Davinci, and that is to simply change the direction of the effect. I'll just click on the drop-down menu and select a new direction to the left instead of to the right. That's it, just one click of the mouse. Most transitions in PowerDirector don't offer this directional change, but it does appear on a few of them. Advantage, PowerDirector. But to be honest, Davinci does give the user a lot more settings and parameters that can affect the behavior of the effect. These settings are seldom understood by novice, beginner, or even moderately skilled users. But Davinci can control movements to a much greater degree than PowerDirector. Advantage, Davinci in that department. Also notice that my duration is set to around 3 seconds instead of the 2 seconds. In the lower right is the Apply to All button. I actually don't have any clips currently selected in the timeline, so if I click that button right now, would all of the transitions get changed to match the first one? Well, let's find out. Look closely at the timeline. As I mouse over the other effects, yes, the durations all got changed to around 3 seconds. But the behavior did not get changed to the overlap type. How about the direction? I can easily check just by scrubbing the mouse over each effect and confirm that yes, the direction did get changed. Now take note of that final fade transition at the end. Just be aware of these limitations in the future. The apply to all does not include the behavior type, and it will apply to all types of the same transition. Now here's a question. Will it apply to effects on other tracks? There's only one way to find out. I'll go back to the media library and put another copy of Sport 02 onto track 2. Then I'll go back into the My Favorites part of the transition library and drag down another fade to place at the end of the image on track 2. And for good measure, I'll put a fade at the beginning of the image. I'll select and move the first page curl effect on track 1 back to an equal overlap. And then I'm going to double click it to open the Modify Transition window. Now once again, I'm going to select Overlap, and I'm going to change the direction to left. I'll then choose Apply to All. And now we have our answer. Look at track 2, and the fade transitions are still there. The Apply to All will change all transitions on the current track only, and not the other tracks. And remember, the Apply to All does not apply to all of the settings of the currently selected effect. Is this a bug or is this a feature? Who knows? Probably not even Cyberlink. Now remember when I said that some effects have the capability of changing the direction of left and right or even up and down? I think one reason we don't see that too often in new transitions is that Cyberlink has figured out that they could simply make one effect going to the left and then a second effect going to the right, and then claim that they were offering you twice as many as before. For example, I'll close the Modify Transition window and then click on Transitions along the left side to view all of the categories. Now watch the preview window. In the Basics category, we have Retro 1 and now Retro 2. Or further down along the left side is the Slideshow category. There's Camera 20 and Camera 21. There are many more to be found, but just think of it as a time-saving step. Cyberlink has already made the changes for you and offered you 2 differently named transitions. Wasn't that nice of them? At the beginning of this video, I said we were going to explore some of the finer details and strange things about transitions in PowerDirector. I have made a few comparisons and remarks about the transitions within Davinci, but to make it clear, this was not a comparison of the 2 programs. Each has their own market share in demographics which they target, so any type of overall comparison is really unfair. For all you PowerDirector users out there, I hope you have gained some insight in dealing with PowerDirector's transitions templates. Please subscribe to this channel and hit that like button. I welcome any comments from anybody. After all, it does get mighty lonely here in Folsom Prison. I'll see you next time.